Hello and welcome to episode 94 of 15K plus random movie reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
This is random movie 993. It's Withnail and I from 1987. Runs for 1 hour and 47 minutes. It's got a Metascore of 84, user score of 7.0. Had a budget of 1.1 million sterling and brought in a box office of $2 million. So I don't know how that works out.
Roughly the same amount of money. That's kind of sucky. I imagine they've made the money since then, though. It's more of a cult classic, this chap.
It's a cult classic for sure. I'm tripping over my words a bit because a peek behind the curtain, we haven't recorded an episode in about a month.
Literally. Yep, we can barely speak at this point.
We can barely speak. The Christmas season is over. It is now January, and we're recording this maybe 4 days before we're supposed to have it released. So,
state of our pants type thing.
Yeah, we usually like to have a buffer, and we had a crazy big buffer running up to Christmas. We had like 4 in the can, and yeah, so we're going to. I think the last episode we recorded was the video one, right? Of A Christmas Story, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's not all just weekly here. We've got lives and stuff, but
well, we pretend to have lives anyway.
Yeah, we'll see how we can do here. So this is directed and written by Bruce Robinson, sort of a semi-autobiographical. He wrote the Killing Field screenplay, which is far removed from
this. Is not the same movie, yeah.
No. We have Withnail, played by Richard E. Grant. We have I, played by Paul McGann, which I had subtitles on because sometimes my audio isn't that good, and he is actually called Marwood. So that's a little...
I think I'm going to just forget that name and just call him I.
I. That's what I had when I was writing my notes. I put just I down. We have Uncle Monty, played by Richard Griffiths. Can you make a guess of what age he was in this movie? Because it's shocking.
He looks the exact same age as he does in all of the Harry Potter movies. So yeah. I'm going to guess at 30 something.
Yeah, 39.
Fucking hell.
He's the oldest looking man ever in the history of cinema.
So in the Harry Potter movies, he's like, what, 59-ish and like 20 years gap, I suppose.
1890, 2003, was it the first one? Yeah, so he would have been 59.
Like...
Sadly passed away.
Yeah, but he hadn't aged all that much in the intervening years, so fair play to him, he didn't go all wrinkly and stuff. He just sort of keeled over, looking the same age as he did when he was 12.
Yeah, he's interesting. It was interesting to see George Harrison as the executive producer in this, and he gets his own song in at the end during the movie.
While my guitar gently weeps, doesn't sleep.
It weeps. Yeah, so George Harrison was big into funding. He funded Monty Python, one of the
Life of
Grail,
Brian,
maybe, or Life of Brian. Yeah. So fair play to George Harrison. He was involved in a couple of cool things.
Yep.
Withnail and I is a cult classic. A lot of teenagers in the 90s referenced it. It was mentioned to me back then. I didn't watch it, and I only watched it for the first time yesterday. Yes, as we were saying just before we came on air, it's aged in not as aged as a lot of movies we've watched. There's a couple of weird words that have aged badly.
There's some words you wouldn't use today, and I wouldn't be comfortable saying it on the podcast, as I suspect we'd get our asses canned pretty quickly.
Yeah. So it's well respected and well liked. When I was watching it, I was under the impression, I sort of predicted that this is a movie you'd want to watch a couple of times so that the quotes and the mannerisms seep in to you, and because I like a lot of Withnail, Richard E. Grant has a lot of funny, quirky sentences that he utters. Paul McGann as I is a very paranoid, just freaking out guy. Monty is just sort of this upper class sort of
field actor.
Yeah.
Wanted to be very much a treading the boards and to play Hamlet.
He comes across quite menacing in near the third quarter of the movie, or the last quarter, I would say.
Yeah, not all his fault.
No, no, because Withnail's an asshole.
Complete asshole.
Yeah.
He comes across menacing just before he becomes across very human.
Yeah, true. This isn't a happy movie. You would laugh at its grimness and darkness. There's no sort of joy in the plot. The characters do not love each other in a positive way. At least there's a very, very negative sort of ecosystem around
I
Withnail
think
and I.
the scene is set very early on, though, where he wakes up with a hangover. He's looking for a drink, can't find it, goes downstairs to get something to eat, and he's in a greasy spoon diner.
Yeah, Greasy Spoon.
And his abject hate of everything that's around him, and everything's just horrible, and the sandwich and the egg is just it defines the movie. It's great.
And while this is happening, you've got Whiter Shade of Pale instrumental happening. It's just the most depressing sort of instrumental you'll ever hear with horns, with brass section. So it's sort of just and
Perfectly picked.
Yeah, and we also see the apartment as well that they live in, and it's just a pigsty. And to be honest
I
with you,
I don't know about you, but I have lived that lifestyle. Yeah,
I've seen student apartments like that.
Yeah, it's in moments of sobriety, and you see that it's just depressing, and that's I've been there. I have not in mid-30s though. No,
and you see like it's just like Rizla packets everywhere and tobacco flakes everywhere, bottles of wine everywhere, just
matter in the sink.
Matter in the sink. There was so he wakes up. He comes home. This is when you start realizing who Withnail is. He comes out of his room just absolutely zonked after a night on the bender, and he says something like, "I've got something horrible to tell you. We've run out of wine." And that's just sort of
what are we gonna do? What are you gonna do about it?
He's just constantly over dramatic, Shakespearean. Let's say that everything is a drama. And which is apt because he ends the entire movie in a Hamlet soliloquy.
Screaming. There's a bit of screaming in the movie as well, but the end is quite excellent as he's screaming at a wolf.
Yeah. I was watching and I was like, this is going to be really hard to talk about because not a lot happens and it's very dialogue driven, and unless you just pick out quotes every scene, it's hard to have a lot of depth to the analysis of it. I just think the first 10 minutes or so just sets the scene that it's the most horrendous environment. These two guys are at the bottom of a very dark hole where substance abuse is just a solution for them.
Horrific rush, yeah.
And so I think Withnail's a little bit worse than I.
Oh, he's way worse. I think he's not the facilitator. He is the reason that
the enabler
is in this situation. I think without Withnail around, I probably leads a normalish life. Withnail is just a horrific human being, which makes him very funny. Well, his dialogue at least is hilarious.
Yeah. So like it feels like I has a sort of grasp on reality. He's very cognizant of what's going on around him because he writes it in his journal.
Horrible paranoia he's always got.
He's got paranoia, and it's from excessive substance abuse, basically.
Yeah,
he's so paranoid throughout the entire movie and just fretting about everything. And
my thumbs have gone weird.
It's just there's a lot of very flowerful dialogue and one-liners that you just are like going, I've never heard that sentence before in my life.
You know what I love to start, because it reminded me of my life at a certain point, is where I is drinking his coffee out of a bowl with a spoon.
Yeah, right.
I've done that with wine once. I've had a very Withnail moment. An eye moment. Some 20 years ago when I was sharing an apartment with people of similar age, and all the glasses were dirty, and it was like, a bowl. I put my wine into it. Yeah. So I can really, I can remember living a little bit like these degenerates.
It's brought back a lot of memories for you then.
A little bit, yeah. None
Yeah.
of them great.
They're just, and like, you think it's like they're obviously very sick. Like Whitnell's a very sick person. The apartment is cold. He rubs deep heat all over himself, and then he just goes, "Yeah, there's none left for you. Sorry."
I love that he's still wearing his big, massive ankle length jacket while he's rubbing the stuff in. It's just horrible. And the Y fronts,
Yeah, both of them have very white Y fronts.
they do.
Are,
They seem to pop up in them quite often.
yeah, just adds to the depravity of it all.
Yeah.
When it's very much like Bottom.
Yes.
Rick
Yeah, I
Mayo and
remember Bottom.
Edmondson.
Yeah,
Comedy.
the unnecessary nudity and Y fronts
White
everywhere.
fronts, but also just they live in a shithole and weird stuff happens and they just dig themselves deeper into a hole of weirdness.
Yeah. It's a whole of their own design as well, which is kind of important because of their, I don't know, I wouldn't say incompetence, but their inability to live like normal human beings.
Yeah. I'm guessing they're there because they failed at what they wanted to be. Like from their dialogue, it's obviously obvious that Withnail is a failed actor. I is getting there. It's sort of teed up at the start that he has done a rehearsal. He's done an audition, and so we kind of that bookends the movie. Really, it's
does,
sort of like at the start he's could happen, and at the end he actually gets the part.
Withnail did have his cigar ad, though. Let's not forget that.
It's not Hamlet, the mild cigar, maybe.
That's what I was thinking when he said it. Yeah, not Hamlet, but Hamlet.
After the deep heat, he obviously takes a swig of lighter fluid as well, which is just.
I must have alcohol to deal with this cold.
I must have alcohol. I read that the director Bruce Robinson in rehearsal it was always water, but for the take he put vinegar in it, and so the reaction is.
So the puking on the floor could well have been genuine puking.
The puking wasn't genuine; it was scripted. So I read. So they head down to the pub.
It was an interesting choice of pub considering the graffiti on the wall.
True, and the guy inside was Irish.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it was a pub that was affiliated with certain organisations by the look of the front of it, which is an unusual choice for the lads to just dander in.
Yeah, because they're like typical English dandies.
Yeah.
And we're not from London.
We didn't burn him.
Yeah.
I do love that quote popping up about 5 times as they're chatting to the yokels.
The yokels. I think we can say without getting cancelled is that the front of the pub has IRA on it, or
IRA and Provo's written on it. Yeah,
that's weird. I thought, is this set in Northern Ireland? No, obviously.
Yeah. I, to be honest, I don't know anything about pubs in 1969 in London. Be weird if I did. I'm assuming that there may have been pubs that were that way inclined. Obviously,
I think. Well, there's an Irish guy inside who likes to call I a ponce as he walks to the toilet. And then when he's in the toilet, he's just fretting. He's like, oh my God, I have to get out of here. This guy's called me a ponce. He's going to beat me up. He's going to kill me. That's entire just grim toilet scene. It's just in a nutshell.
What I love is, to be honest, it could be a nothing incident. You just go, and walk on.
Yeah.
But he tells Withnail, and Withnail just makes it 20 times worse. And then he keeps continuing to make it worse.
He's such a
Who said that? How dare they? Where is he? He shouts to the rest of the pub. And then the large Irishman comes over and confronts him. And then Withnail just throws I under the bus and goes, well, maybe you should take my friend outside and discuss this further.
Yeah. He's such an asshole.
Yes.
Then they just sort of run out.
That's the right thing to do at that point.
Yeah. They he's in the it cuts to a scene where he's in the toilet shaving, and again
he's in the bathtub shaving, and
he's in the bathtub shaving
using the bathtub water to wipe the shaved foam off his face.
And then it gets it's worse. Like Withnail comes in with a takeaway, and then he just shoves all the newspaper down the toilet. He's got no respect or common sense for anything.
Just rotten. Yeah.
And Danny's here.
He throws a Savalite in his face here after this. Danny's like, how much is that? Oh, you have it free.
Yeah, so Danny is this sort of, he's their drug linchpin, I guess.
Yeah, he seems well versed in the way of narcotics.
Yeah, played by Ralph Brown, who's been in a couple of things, you said.
He played the exact same character, or a roadie at least, anyway, in Wynn's World 2. So he's the guy that puts together the production for them. Two lads. It's the exact same character. Stoned and, loves his music type thing.
He played a character in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, which
Not
was
the same character.
No, not the same character. I can't find the name of the character now, but
he was a military guy, wasn't he? Or
he was he was Rick Olde, however you pronounce that. But that basically has got him into all these Lego Star Wars video games.
Wow.
So there's like listed in Metacritic as like 20 Lego Star Wars games where he just does the voice of Rick Olde. But other than that, he's played a lot of stuff in British TV, Life on Mars,
stuff, yeah.
Elementary, Blacklist.
I think I've seen Coronation Street there as well.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, he's been around the joint. But yeah, so he comes in to two scenes, I believe, and then near the end.
Yeah. He again kind of bookends it. Pre-effing off to the country and right back when they get back in London.
Yeah, he's very, I don't know why, but when he was talking, it reminded me of it's a Quentin Tarantino sort of dialogue, like nothing, no real, just the vibe of it. I wonder if Tarantino was ever a fan of this movie.
I wouldn't be all that surprised if he's come across this before. His dialogue is fantastic.
It's very flowery.
That's one of the defining things about this movie, though, is the dialogue is great. Like especially Withnail, Richard E. Grant, and his delivery is chef's kiss.
Yeah,
and this guy's quite good as well on it.
Yeah, he's good. Like everybody does a great turn.
Yeah.
He basically has this core thing about toy inventions here, about shitting themselves toy.
Yeah. He's talking about the dolls that wet themselves and the kids have to change the nappy, and his friends come up with a brilliant idea. They shit themselves. Going to get out of drugs, I'm going to make dolls that shit themselves.
Yeah. I get this sort of like drug off thing where Withnail's going, I can take as many drugs as you can and stay upright.
No.
But they don't actually do it.
No, Withnail kind of chickens out, kicks him out.
Yeah.
It offends him too much, and Danny just says, okay, feck, I'm going to feck off, so.
Yeah. So like around this time, they've like, I is just going, we need to get to that countryside, get to your uncle, get the key, let's get the hell out of here. So they head over to Uncle Monty's. Richard Griffiths,
who plays a great part in this. I love him in this.
Yeah, that's very well.
Cauliflower, carrots.
I love the way they just go around Sherry. When they go into his first front room, it's like Sherry. So Monty comes across as he's got lots of woes and he's on the edge of craziness because he just regrets everything he didn't do in his life regarding threading the boards. And
yeah, to me, Monty is a future version of Withnail. Because he's a failed actor. Withnail seems to be a failed, useless actor as well. To be. He still has some hope of actually treading the boards still. But I suspect in about 20 years' time, Withnail would be Monty.
Yeah, most likely. Similar
That's my take
path.
on it anyway.
Although I'll tell you what, so Bruce Robinson's sort of quasi-novel or story he wrote, there's a different ending, or there's an ending after.
There's an ending after the ending?
Ooh. Yeah, but it was never shot, but it's in the original script, in the original novel. They get his car, basically. There's sort of... thing is that Withnail goes and talks to Monty to sort of wet the wheels a little bit, and we then later find out what he's told him.
Bloody horrific.
Yeah.
Got
a couple of good songs through this movie. We've got a Hendrix song up next where they head off in the car.
Along the Watchtower, baby.
Along the Watchtower. This is when he describes the piss bottle thing.
Danny's invention.
Danny's a genius.
Is
Withnail
he?
says. No, he's a moron.
It's nearly as good as the dolls thing. Where you get a young child's urine, stick it in a very liquid bottle, and keep it just in case the cops pull you over while you're drunk driving.
Yeah.
Good move.
Danny's a genius.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not so sure.
They get to the cottage, Monty's cottage, and Whitnell is, of course, drunk already, and he says the immortal line, "I feel like a pig has shat in my head." It's like,
nice,
good. I like it. So they need to get fire and everything, and it's a shithole of a cottage.
Yeah, they arrive in the middle of a storm, and they're frozen cold, and they have no food, they have no anything, there's no aspirin.
Yeah, no aspirin. I need aspirin. But the thing about it is, like, it just shows how, like, dependent they are on being not helped, but they don't know what to do when they're left to their own devices. They know how to be substance abusers in their own apartment. Take them into another realm where nothing is around and they don't have anything.
You can't just go downstairs to the greasy spoon and get a horrible egg on toast. No. You have to go and fend for themselves.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for the chicken later on.
Yeah, sitting up in the oven. There's some. They don't really show the scenery that much, but when I goes around the next morning, it's quite a lovely.
Looks gorgeous, absolutely
scenery,
gorgeous. Yeah. And for a moment, I thought they were going to go, "Oh, this is really nice," and they're going to relax into the new environment and clean up a little bit. So wrong was I.
No. Yeah, so he heads to the farmer. The mother of the farmer's going, "Nah, I'm not having you." He's up the field. He's got a plastic foot on, Mr. Parkin. So they find him in the tractor, and this is one of the best lines. Go ahead, say it.
Oh God,
you have to get it right though.
We've gone on holiday by mistake. Are you the farmer?
You've got it the wrong way around.
No, have I? Are you the farmer? No, that's what I've written it.
No, it's we've made a mistake. We've gone on holiday.
Oh,
I think, or maybe it is. We've gone on holiday by mistake.
Either way,
you're the farmer. Either way, it's good. Going on holiday by mistake, very good.
It's a beautiful concept.
I is going, stop when he's going, "Are you the farmer?" He says it asks him like 5 times. Mark says, "Stop saying that, Withnail. Of course he's the fucking farmer.
He's in a fucking tractor."
He's in a tractor.
Yeah, he's not a bus driver.
Yeah. So, he gives him a chicken. And
a bunch of fuel for the fire so they won't freeze to death.
Yeah,
or burn all the furniture. They only burn some of the furniture.
Yeah. So he they do the chicken thing. They take the feathers off and sit it in the oven just upright, and it looks weird.
What I like though is just a scene before this where he sends Withnail out to the field with a fork and plastic bags over his feet to go collect some spuds. I was very impressed that they actually knew what a potato plant looked like. But I like that he crammed the fork into the ground to pull the potatoes out.
But again, it's very bottom. It's very Ren and Stimpy.
It's ridiculous stupidity.
Ridiculous stupidity of, okay, I'll use a fork instead of just pulling a potato plant out of the ground. I'll just stick a fork in the soil and see if I can prong a potato.
But what I love is it worked first time. Potato!
I think... Oh yeah, so it's... I don't know when Withnail says, we want the finest wines available to humanity, and we want them here, and we want them now. I don't know when he says that.
That's in the cafe, so... we're jumping over quite a bit here.
Right, okay, we will get there, because that's a good scene.
It's a great scene.
We have 2 scenes, very short scenes, one after the other. We've got Withnail in a phone booth trying to figure out if he's got any work, I believe.
Work. Yeah. He's such an asshole, he refuses to take it.
He refuses to be an understudy to some asshole.
I never liked doing Russian plays anyway. There's always something about ducks marching on Moscow.
Yeah. Then we have the bull gate scene. The Randy Bull. Of course, again, Withnail shows his absolute ass hattery when he jumps over the wall.
Yep, leaves I to fend for himself.
Yeah, and he does good. The farmer's like going, show him how violent you are.
Show your potatoes at him.
Yeah, show your potatoes at him. And then they head to the Crow, the pub.
Yeah, with the landlord who's...
Love the landlord. Good landlord.
I do like what he says.
I do. It's the Irish connection.
Yeah, he goes,
I like that.
"Oh, you know self-defense?" And he's like, yeah, I was in the army.
Territorial
Army. Where'd you get stationed? Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, putting it up to the mix, eh?
He said, a crack at the mick, eh?
Crack at the mick, yeah.
That was good. Well, we can say that because we're Irish.
Yeah, it's hilarious as well.
Yeah, that's good. You can tell what type of person the landlord is. He's that ex-general. He's very... Yeah, he's very... Yeah, but he's drunk. It's a skunk behind the bar. We do have Michael Elphick as the poacher. You remember Boone?
Of course I remember Boone.
Aho Silver. 1980s
it was such
detective
rubbish.
show.
I watched it all the time and it was awful.
I don't think I remember it being something maybe on at 9 p.m. on ITV, and I think I remember as a primary school child was hearing the soundtrack as opposed to watching it.
I think at that time when I was watching TV, it was like, well, what else are you going to watch? We've got like 4 stations.
Yeah,
you're watching Boone.
You got the English stations, okay? There.
Yeah, you not.
That's the only ones we got. We couldn't get the Irish stations. We grew up on Ulster television, let's say.
That explains you then.
I knew more about English politics than Irish politics growing up, and it didn't help that my dad bought the Daily Mirror, which didn't have an Irish version then yet, so it's all English politics. I knew Arthur Scargill and the mine strikes in the 80s. I knew Thatcher. I knew Major, and
yeah, they were more interesting, to be honest. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on in Irish politics in the 80s and 90s because I wasn't.
Anyway.
Yeah, Brian Lenihan maybe was one of them. Whatever.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I actually Jake the Poacher. I love he calls Withnail. He says you're pranny like a tit.
Prancing like a tit.
Prancing like a tit. You need working on. I like the fact that he thinks he needs working on. How can you work on him to make him less prancy? That's good. Yeah, he had animals all over himself, an eel down in his pocket.
His trousers. He takes it out to silence the eel because it's moving too much. Smashes it off the bar.
Could we have an eel?
No.
Could we purchase an eel?
No, not for you. Not for your pot.
Yeah, he was good. So
very good, yeah.
Because they didn't get anything, they went to the river the next day and started shooting
with a shotgun.
Fish.
Yeah.
Again, it's like poking a fork in the soil to get a potato. They bring a gun to a river to fish.
Yeah, strangely, it doesn't work. That's weird.
Very strangely. They get to be sort of paranoid that the poacher's out to kill them now.
Yeah, well, it's because when they're on the way home after trying to fish with the shotgun, as they're coming up to the house, they see the poacher looking in the window and he's poking around, and they wait till he fecks off, carrying a gun at the time as well. Which a poacher would do. And now they're freaking out that he's going to come and kill them in their sleep, which is a reasonable fear. Especially when he said, "I know where you live."
Yeah. So then they have this sort of musical beds scene, and it's just... Yeah. You just go deeper and deeper.
Everywhere, lads.
Y-fronts everywhere. They're in a single bed first, and they go over to the double bed, and then they hear noises. And Monty comes barging into the room.
Lads.
And Withnail goes, "Monty, you terrible C-word," which I thought was very funny.
But they both... While they use that language, they both look relieved that, obviously, it's Monty and not somebody with a shotgun trying to kill them.
Monty was the least worst choice.
For now. And I might change his mind in a few minutes.
Yeah. Monty gets to work, making things quite pleasant with food because he kind of knows how to live in the world and
he
feed
knows
himself.
he knows about the cellar. That neither of them noticed that there's a wine cellar as part of the building. So
Was that something?
yeah. Because he just pulls out a bunch of bottles of wine. He said, "Oh yeah," and then Withnail later
Exactly.
on says, "Oh yeah, he's well stocked in the cellar department."
Yeah, I just thought it was a turn of phrase. I didn't think because I would have.
Well, maybe they don't have, but he definitely had a stock of wine with him.
Yeah, I think like he bought boxes and bags from groceries or whatever. But so Monty has a little diatribe at the breakfast table, and I just gets a little bit suspicious and again scared. I don't want to stay with him.
Yes, yeah.
Put your apron on. There you go. Oops. Let me get that for you.
Yeah, but what we don't realize, and it is horribly kind of inappropriate and is a little bit too close and touchy.
Yeah.
We don't realize why.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. So Monty wants them to freshen up and brings them into town. And this is where you get your tea room because they get a bit drunk in the pub first.
Oh, bollocks to the Wellingtons. Let's get a pint.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, Wellingtons. Yeah, that's what they need to get. But no, Monty gives them some cash and they just go and get drunk instead. And then they want to eat something. So they go to this lovely old ladies' restaurant.
Soak up the alcohol, pints or cake.
And this must be where he says, I want to have the finest wine in the world.
Yeah.
Finest wines available to humanity.
Yeah.
We want them here and we want them there. I think
they're nicely asked to leave and then not nicely asked to leave.
Yeah. I noticed Withnail laughing a bit in this take, and I was going, "Oh, that sort of looks like a real laugh," and it was. They did multiple takes, and Richard E. Grant kept
pissing himself. Did he?
He kept laughing because the pugs behind him were wheezing. We're making wheezing noises.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, Monty's not too happy that he.
They spent the money, the welly money, on booze and got his neighbours offended.
Yeah. So they're prepping dinner and they're having dinner talk, and the more they talk, the more I gets very anxious and befuddled.
Yeah, Monty forgives him. Says, "Well, I can't stay mad at you. I think you can come out of the doghouse now." And it's up right close to his face, and it's
actually quite like a horror movie at times. So Withnail obviously is passed out drunk, so I drags him upstairs.
Yeah,
puts him in the door.
I'll take him to bed.
Yeah, closes the door. No, keeps it open. Goes over to the other room. The camera pans over to him. He grabs his stuff, and the camera pans back. And we just see the stairs though in the shot where he's grabbing his stuff. But the camera pans back, and Monty's there, and it's like fuck. It's actually really well done and quite menacing, actually, to be honest with you.
This next scene is very unpleasant. Where he's in his Y fronts at this point because he was just about to move bed. And
so Monty says, "I'll go downstairs and I'll sleep on the sofa." So he goes into the bedroom, and he puts the chair up against the door. Fucking, he gets pushed in. And this is the menacing scene.
So this is the bit where Monty basically unrobes and gets up close to him, corners him.
Uncle Dursley,
yeah,
showing his magic wand. Sorry.
He's not a muggle after all. No, I've eventually talked his way out of it and says, "I love Withnail and he loves me. It would be awful for, blah, blah, blah." And Uncle Dursley, he's like, "Fair enough, you must go to him, so."
Yeah, but so this is why he's chasing I is because Withnail, to get them to this place, told Monty that I loved Withnail, but Withnail didn't love him. And then that's how Monty was like going, "It's unrequited love. I've been there."
Yeah. And this is how they got the cottage. So he used, like everything else Withnail does, it's a tactical, I think it's the word he used, a tactical maneuver to get what he wants for free. So It's a horrific thing he plays on both Monty and I.
Yes, he is an asshat.
Oh, he's a complete prick. Yeah.
I love when I goes back into the into the guest room. He goes, "Withnail, you bastard, wake up!
You will pay for this." Yeah.
But Monty
Never pays
leaves.
for it, though.
Monty leaves and leaves a letter, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's
What he says in the letter, though, is that he unfortunately earwigged on their conversation, and then he knows the situation that Withnail has played on both him and I, and he leaves in disgrace. And it's almost heartbreaking. It's a massive juxtaposition on 5 minutes prior in the movie where you're thinking, oh my God, this guy is an absolute monster. No, he isn't. Withnail's a monster.
Yeah, he directs everything that's shit.
Yeah.
He's a shit director.
Such a bastard.
Yeah. And you just have to get out of his orbit. And thankfully, this is what transpires. Actually, in the next scene, they get a telegram and I has the role. And you can just...
Not just the role he thought he was going for, the lead role. Yeah.
And Withnail's just going, well done.
He's not happy about it.
He's not happy at all because he knows his little sphere of influence of substance abuse and control and just doing fucking crap shit.
He's going to lose his drinking buddy.
Yeah. So they get in the car home and another Hendrix song happens. Voodoo child, voodoo child.
God knows I'm a voodoo child. No D.
Child, no D. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know how it's spelled, but I never hear a D.
No, and yeah, he doesn't. I didn't hear it last night. Withnail drives because I was tired, and he gets pulled over by the cops, of course.
I'm making time.
He has this. Yeah, he has this like round.
You can't drive. You don't have a license. I'm making time.
He gets caught by the cops, and there's just this all around conversation, and one of the cops just yells, "Get in the back of the van!" It's like it just cuts.
It's a great line, screamed at Withnail.
It's very low key up until that, and it's like a roundabout of just Withnail being a dick, and then this guy just cuts to the chase and yells it, and I thought that was really clever.
It was brilliant, yeah.
So he gets to use the piss test and gets caught very quickly because it's stupid.
One of the cops goes, "Sarge, what's happening over there?"
Yeah.
behind a little cover, Withnail's got his fairy liquid bottle out, and as he's caught, the nozzle goes everywhere and spills all over the wall. It's a lovely scene.
With mild green fairy liquid.
I really hope the liquids aren't green. That'd be terrible for the child who produced it. Yeah.
Where do you get the child's urine
That was
from?
my next question. I have it written down here. Ask this: where and when did he get a child to fill up the fairy liquid bottle? It's weird. We never seen that. Because
thankfully,
I'm hoping he didn't bother using his own urine because it wouldn't be any good.
That'd be why would he use the fairy liquid? Yeah, they head home while my guitar gently weeps, plays as they go up the stairs.
Beautiful.
There's a strange person in the room.
A very large black man sitting in the bathtub.
In the bathtub, yeah.
Yeah, and Withnail, it's I looks in and he's like, this is unusual.
Then Daniel is in the living room.
Bed.
He's in his bed.
He's in his bed. Get out of bed. I'm going to bed in 10 minutes.
Yeah, get the hell out of bed. So he gets up and makes a massive joint. What's it called again?
Carrot. Something carrot, some town name and then carrot. It's ridiculous looking thing. It's size of my head.
It's crazy. And it's very well. I think some staff crew made it and it was full of just herbs. It wasn't obviously real.
Oh, yeah. Herbs, I see.
Richard E. Grant is a teetotaler. He's allergic to alcohol, and I think
fuck, really?
They made him drink one time just so he could feel what it was like. But I think he's actually allergic. He can't actually drink alcohol.
Oh, wow. He plays it particularly well.
Oh, he's amazing, yeah. And I think if people have watched this movie more than once and are big fans of it, we're probably not doing it justice with the level of dialogue that it does. Because if I knew this movie, like I know the dialogue in Pulp Fiction or whatever, I would know to bring up the exact sentence and the exact scene. But there's so many just...
It's hard to note all of the quotes because they are rapid fire.
Yeah, it's just hard to review a movie for the first time and the dialogue is so heavy with good stuff.
Yeah. Everything Richard E. Grant says is basically a quote, in my opinion. It's not just the actual content of it. The delivery is beautiful.
You know what Withnail and I super fans call themselves? They call
You
themselves scrubbers.
because the girls who were shouting, but they love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Withnail's driving when they're driving up to the cottage. They pass some schoolgirls, and Withnail leans out, going "Scrubbers." They like don't like cower, right? And they're like going, "Fuck
Oh,
yeah." Yeah.
It's very funny.
So Danny has a long dialogue scene here of just explaining lots of roundabout stuff.
He talks a lot, which sounds almost scientific, but actually says very little. It's great.
He's a typical drug guy who thinks when he's high that's
He
a
knows
genius.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
In fairness, he does know his narcotics very well. He knows them inside and out.
he certainly does. So I think at one stage,
Something about drugged onions as well, and a rat dog in the oven.
there was rats in the apartment, and so he chucked one. I don't know,
And then he drugged
poisoned
them
one of
with
the
onions and then put them into the sink, flushed them down the drain or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all kind of like, what? And I the whole time was going, what? He did what?
it's at this point he actually gets the letter and he says, "Oh, they want me in the lead role for this." It was like the first scene in the cottage. He just says, "Oh, I've got the part."
Yeah, he gets a telegram.
I don't know if it's a telegram in the first scene. I think it's just a letter in the second.
He has to make a phone call. Yeah.
He comes back, and they're all smoking up this big, massive joint.
He's actually smiling before the joint.
Yeah, he's okay. He doesn't really feel. I think he knows this is it. This is when I finish this life of sordid crap.
Debauchery.
Yeah, and we get to this sort of. It's sort of a high tension, sort of very uncomfortable scene because the three guys are high. The like Withnail just laughs crazily.
Yeah. Collapses on the floor laughing.
There's what is it, Harry Rama?
Yeah, I don't know.
The African guy is just
chanting while spinning a globe.
It's and then it just ramps
chaos.
up, and I think it's just a good crescendo to I's journey. Maybe it's just like
it's absolute nuts, and he's starting to get paranoid because he's just taking a toke on the joint of doom. So I think perhaps it's his farewell to Withnail at this point.
Yeah, it's like a culminating thing, and it's like, this is a crescendo of shit, and I want out.
So I think the next scene, baby.
Yeah, he's cleaned up. He looks normal.
Yeah, shaved. He's done his hair. Got a hat on.
Of course, the Withnail doesn't want to just let him go clean off. He has to bring a drink.
Come on,
into
it. You have a drink with me before you go. Come on.
Yeah, have the wine. It's Monty's wine.
Yeah,
always time for a drink. He says, always time for a drink.
I think part of me believes that he just wants I to stay at him forever, and this is his last attempt here. Have a drink. You're not going anywhere. Have a drink.
Get drunk, miss the train, maybe miss an appointment with the casting, whatever. Yeah, I think he was an asshole up until the very end. I don't think there was no arc for him.
There's no redemption for him. He's a right prick. There's nothing good about him. Not even when he's driving, trying to make up time. No,
because he knew he was doing it wrong, and he knew he probably would get caught, and he was being very, very dangerous, slaloming around the cars and everything.
Yeah, there's nothing good about poor Withnail apart from his excellent dialogue.
No, but I don't hate him. I like to hate him.
He's a very interesting character, and you can understand how something like I gets drawn into his orbit.
And there's he's got so many great lines, and I didn't write them all down. Like I have a page from IMDb up here. There's one at the cottage. So good when you look at it. It's like, you're not leaving me in here alone. Those are the kind of windows faces looking at. It's just like so good, so colourful.
Yeah.
So poetic. I liked, and we're doing it in justice. And maybe if we ever, do a random if we re-roll the dice of all the movies we've watched and we get this again, I think this would be probably the best one to get, because there's so much depth to the dialogue.
I think one of the difficulties with this movie though is its quotability. And I think because the movie is mostly quotes just rammed together, beautiful quotes, almost poetry. You could spend the length of the movie just reading through the script. It's beautifully written, the dialogue. So it's hard to pick just a few from that.
Yeah, like I'm just looking through IMDb. It's all Withnail. I'm a trained actor reduced to the status of a bum.
Yeah.
Just
and the delivery, as I said before, is just divine.
Yeah, it's not going to be anyway good when I deliver. I shall miss you, Withnail, is one of I's last sentences, and chin chin, as he said. Yeah, and he finishes off with a Hamlet soliloquy. I think his last few words is "nor women neither."
It's beautifully delivered.
Well, that's Richard E. Grant for you. Threads
screaming into the void at the end.
It's an interesting
screaming
character.
Into the wolf.
So the novel. So I promised you I would say what actually happens in the novel. Yes. He goes home and kills himself.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Can I say that without getting cancelled or without getting blocked on Spotify?
Somebody, of course you can say that. I think
it's a review. It's a review of a movie. Yeah, this actually happens.
That's rather depressing. Like this kind of leads into. Part of me believes that Withnail does love him, and he has those feelings for him, and that's one of the reasons why topping himself would kind of make sense. I think half of what he said to Monty is actually not a lie.
You think that, do you? You think he's got feelings?
I think so, yeah.
Romantic feelings?
I don't know even if it's romantic, but an asexual desire to have eye around with him for the rest of his life type thing.
Yeah. He's definitely dependent on him.
Completely.
He's dependent on booze and substances, but he's also dependent on I. And I think, and the thing about it is, I never even offered to bring Withnail with him to London or wherever he's going.
I think a large part of him was delighted to end that part of his life because it's a rut, because he's going nowhere. And being, and he recognizes, especially after the Monty incidents, he recognizes that spending time with Withnail is just no good.
Yeah. Here. That's another thing when he leaves the note on the door. It's like, what the hell? Here.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah.
The only thing I've rated right now is acting. And
you go ahead with the acting first. I've got everything written down here.
I'm actually just toying whether I put it up a bit, actually. Fuck it, I am. I'm going to do 4.25 for acting. I had it at 4. I just think it's amazing acting. I think everything is delivered. Everybody's great. Everybody plays their part so well. But Richard E. Grant is just sublime.
The three main actors knock it out of the park. I've got the same score down.
Oh, you do?
I love the acting in this. As you say, Richard E. Grant is just it's a masterclass in acting here, and his delivery of each of those. You know, there's juice to the dialogue already, so any reasonable actor would have done good, but he elevates it.
Let me ask a technical question here. When we say plot, do we mean script or storyline, or is it both?
If it's script, then that's a massively big number. If it's just a storyline, then there isn't much to review.
No.
I'm tempted to... See, the decision we make here should be reflected in everything else we have reviewed and will review.
But we haven't really had a movie where it's been crazy, amazing dialogue. I don't think.
I'm sure we've had a couple, but we've never Tarantino'd.
No. Die Hard is not as poetic movie, as this. It's got quotable stuff. I think plot has to take into account the actual dialogue that drives the story.
Well, if we're saying that, then I have the plot down to 2.5. But if we're considering dialogue, again, it's all the way up the bloody floor. The dialogue is immaculate.
Yeah, the script come under production?
See, part of me thinks script and acting kind of hang out together, because if you've got a brilliant actor and they've got a terrible script, that number goes way down. I know.
Well, no, like they can. A good actor can make a terrible script shine a little bit. I think maybe we need to sort of, because what we did with soundtrack, it's sound brackets track. It's sort of like it's not just a soundtrack.
We could plot/script it and just go with that.
I think so, and I don't think we've done movies bad in the past in our.
We've never had to ask this question of ourselves.
No, this is the first time. I'm just going to bring up our.
I'm just going to change my score here.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring up our movies just that we've done so far. See, this is The Godfather. It's the story and the script together. We gave it 4. Coda, another cool indie movie. We gave it 4. Script, storyline. Storyline actually in Coda isn't that nuanced.
Yeah, I agree with you. But if the dialogue is good, it raises up.
And I think maybe we're just funkified in our brain because we haven't done this in a month, that we have scored things. Like I gave Metroland 0 for plot.
In fairness, it was a stupid idea and terrible dialogue.
Yeah. Big Lebowski 4.
Okay, yes.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. I think we're overthinking this.
Birdman 4.
Oh. Yes. Okay, so I've
4.5 for Groundhog Day. And that's quotable. That's very quotable. But
it's insanely so, yeah.
I would argue that this script is more more sort of punchy than Groundhog Day's script. Groundhog Day's script is very funny.
Yeah, because Groundhog has a better story.
Correct.
So that therefore, sort of balances out. Yeah.
I'm not going to give it 4.5 the plot here, but I will give it. I'll give it 4. Fuck it.
I'm going to try and. Yeah, I'll give it 3.75. It's damn good. But there's no story. There is a story, but there's not much that happens. But the dialogue is just divine.
It's good that it's made us think about it, though.
Yeah,
it's an interesting movie where not a lot of a storyline, but the dialogue just carried it along. Sound brackets tracking giving 3.25. There's some great songs in it, but other than that,
there isn't a lot of music in it, to be honest.
No,
but the songs they pick, excellent.
Yeah.
I would have given it more only for the outro, or the song at the end is, what the hell's going on with this? It's like some lad on a, I can't remember what it was. It was awful. It was just some drunk guy on a keyboard.
Probably Withnail. Production, I'm giving 3.75. I just think everything was just what's the word? Desperate and dismal and bleak and perfectly murky and black.
Miserable. Yes. And the use of rain at the right times.
The perfect use of rain.
Obviously it's not raining and everything. They're pouring rain on top of people, but the choice and when to do it, like the end scene, the downpour, and Withnail's misery at the end of it just fits. And screaming at a wolf, just a caged wolf.
Yeah, I love these wolves anyway. Where are these wolves anyway? Like, where the hell are
sort of open zoo?
Open
London?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's interesting. So what are you giving production?
I've 3 down for it. It's great. But I find it hard to give it more than that, because there isn't a lot of production required other than some interesting decisions. Like,
I would gladly watch this movie again, but it's kind of depressing story. But the dialogue, I would look forward to listening to the dialogue again, because I think I'd pick up a lot more.
Yeah, I think part of the story mightn't be as depressing. Like the whole Monty thing would be less. I don't know what the phrase was.
Yeah, it came
It
out
felt
of
difficult at times through his scenes until the end, and you're like, oh, poor Fecker. Oh,
yeah. There's like maybe a good 10-minute chunk, maybe less, where it sort of is a bit it's darker than it actually is throughout the movie because it gets to a sort of incident
because
where
Withnail's an asshole.
yeah, and so Monty is just sort of
He's a
Monty's
victim in it.
Monty's a little he's a little unhinged to a certain extent, but not totally unhinged. But he took it a little too far by you could tell that I does not want to be with him, but he
Yeah.
keeps going for him in the bedroom and doesn't take no for an answer until he concocts another story where he brings his family member Withnail into the story. So yeah, but it's a good chunk there. It's like a little dark coal in the soul of Withnail and I. That's sort of it's the actual core of the actual plot.
I think it is an important piece. It goes to the how deep the layers of the depravity of Withnail are, that he would just absolutely give no fecks about his uncle or his best friend just so he can have a holiday in a cabin or in a cottage for the weekend.
Yeah, and you can actually, from what I remember from watching it last night, you can see Withnail smirking when Monty is going on to over dinner or whatever.
Yeah,
he's smirking at him.
Yeah,
because he's an asshole.
He's a complete freak.
Yeah. Christine Arnold in the Miami Herald gave it 50 out of 100 back in 1987. And the acting is strong, especially from the raging Grant and the comically wistful Griffiths. Still, Withnail and I doesn't come off as an affectionate contemplation of the director's down and out days. Why does it have to be affectionate contemplation?
Yeah, like it's a contemplation, absolutely, but I don't think affectionate is any part of this movie.
No.
It's not something. If that was your life at a point in time, it's not something you'd look back with affection on. Like it's misery.
Yeah, quite a few hundreds, but I'll go for the ever reliable Roger Ebert, 100 Chicago Sun-Times, conveys the experience of being drunk so well that the only way I could improve upon it would be to stand behind you and hammer your head with 2-pound bags of frozen peas.
Fair enough, yeah. I'm not sure how bags of frozen peas simulates being drunk.
No, I think he could have used a connection to the movie there.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Damn
anyway, William Thomas in the Empire gave it 100 as well. And I think it kind of stands to the fans. Fans can mouth the words of Grant's big speeches along with him, relishing every viperish turn of phrase. This is and always will be a perfect dark comedy and a student staple, which it was back in our day. But I just didn't watch it because I think I was...
We were crap students, so I didn't watch it until now as well. I'd heard it, it had been quoted at me ad nauseum. Like a bunch of lads would have quoted this at me, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's great." Yeah. Balls to Monty was one of the
I was very gaunt, and I had longer black hair, and my friends' older brothers would call me Withnail.
And you've got the same outlook on life.
That's pretty bleak. Have you got any analogy centered for wrapping up this episode?
I didn't even think of one. I don't either.
My brain.
I'd say we poured the wine down the sink and moved to Manchester with I on this one.
I'll take it. Whatever. All right, so let's roll the dice here for the next episode 95. And we are getting random movie number 7080 for movie episode number 95, and that is we're sticking with a UK based movie. This is Sunshine. No, it's Sunshine from 2007.
Oh, okay, that's not a terrible movie at all.
Did you see it?
I have. This is Boyle, not Boyle, is it?
It is Boyle,
yeah.
Danny Boyle.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of this.
It's a good enough. It's got problems, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, basically, there's a long summary on Metacritic, but the sun is dying. It is no longer providing the energy and the light that mankind needs to survive on Earth. They find a ship, and it's about how the crew react under the enormous pressure of their endeavor to save mankind. Good lineup: Cillian Murphy, Rose Byrne, Chris Evans, Cliff Curtis, Jipo Chung, Michelle Yeoh, Hiroyuki Sanada, Benedict Wong. You know him?
Love him. Absolutely love Benedict Wong.
This is Street Countdown.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's got a Metascore of 64, but a user score of 7.4.
I'd put it somewhere in between those. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's been a while since I've seen this.
Never even heard of it. Must have passed me by. 2007, runs for 1 hour and 47 minutes, which is exactly Withnail and I's runtime.
It's the same movie. If you watch it side by side, it's the same dialogue.
I'm guessing the dialogue won't be as in-depth and punchy as Withnail and I is. All right. I'm not missing anything, am I? I'm out of practice here.
No, I think you've got it all.
Cool. All right. So that'll be episode 95, Sunshine from 2007. We will see you then. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.
Chuck.